Okay, let's just do our simple pace to get ready today. And then we're going to go right down to the floor for a little bit and then stand up and back down to the floor. We're going to do this level change thing. And continuing to think about rotation. So we can do that even sitting in our chair. We're standing on our sits bones. So rotating the eyes from one side to the other. And then still holding on to our brain buttons. Let's allow our eyes to take our gaze as far as we can to one side and then to the other side, really seeing. And now let's do another sweep, imagining we're seeing out the back of our heads. So we're seeing the opposite of what our eyes are seeing with the back of our heads. Really focusing on. In fact, Bonnie Berenidge-Cohen sometimes does that. Take a hand and put it back there. That's your cerebellum. That's what controls and refines all your movement. So just bringing our attention, and let's let our attention today drop back. So this is pre-conscious, you know, this is, we can't think with this part of our brain, but it does an incredible amount of subconscious thinking for us. So let's just let our awareness sink back and allow kind of our consciousness of that part of our brain is going to be doing a lot of helping with all that we're learning today. And then let's take another scan, just allowing the consciousness in that back part of our brain. And then with our breathing, draw attention to our nose and the inhalation and exhalation as we go. And then lick our lips. And activate the mouth. And immediately I start to turn with my whole spine. So I'm feeling now my hand on my sternum is starting to track with my head as I go. And we're waking up that spine. And then let's just do a few simple, I'll call them old-fashioned cross crawls. It's always good to go back to basics once in a while. Can you feel the rotation? Do you notice the rotation as you do this? So this is not just our limbs working. It's our whole torso, and particularly our spine. And then we have our hookups. So maybe just draw your attention to that idea of spirals, rotation and spirals. If we embrace the spirals in our lives, what would that be like? Like going back to this simple pace that we learned years ago now, but it's different than it was. We're not going back to the same place. We're not going back to doing the same thing because we're doing it differently. That to me is one of the lessons of the spiral. Change sides if you want. And allow your attention for a moment to drop back into that back part of your brain. Just recognizing it, honoring it, remembering it. And hopefully as we draw our attention back there, we also can have the advantage of, we get into this forward head position, which is only creates stress. So if we can just relax as if someone was, holding back there, and we just relax, someone with a loving touch was doing that, and we just can allow that to come back into that loving hand. And when you're ready, bring your fingertips together and take a couple more breaths. And this time as you breathe all the way from your tailbone, your perineum, and your sits bones, all the way up to the top of your head, to that G20 point. And then we're going to make our way down to the floor just to do a couple of really simple things to, again, allow ourselves to drop back into our subconscious brain and experience the simple rocking that we've been doing from that perspective. So we're going to go into constructive rest, so I'll let you get yourselves settled on the floor. We're just going to do a little bit on our backs and a little bit on our stomachs. There, yeah. So when you're ready, assume the constructive rest position and just allow the earth to receive your weight and any tension that doesn't serve you. It can be muscle tension, it can be emotional tension, it can be thought tension. And then we're just going to roll the head slowly from side to side. It can be very small movement. Yielding into the weight of the skull, or the weight of the skull yielding into the floor. I never thought about this, but I hope you all have something, a carpet or a yoga mat or a blanket or something. I haven't talked about those. I have this wall-to-wall carpet. I have no choice but having
something rather soft under my head. So if you need to get something, and maybe really slow this down and feeling as centimeter by centimeter the back of your head is rolling to one side and then the other. Go as far to one side as you feel comfortable. Don't push it. And when it doesn't want to roll any further, then just allow it to start to roll back. And then allow the movement to subside and just take a couple breaths, allowing your body to absorb that experience. And specifically allowing the cerebellum, that back part of your brain, to absorb what it learned. And when you're ready, we're going to roll over onto our tummies and place our forehead on the tops of our hands. So one palm on top of the other hand and the forehead. And this time we're going to allow your big toes to touch or be close together. And then allow your legs to relax, your thighs, your knees, your calves. Just let them go. You might just wiggle them a little to really let go of them. And then we're going to roll our pelvis from side to side. Or if you like, imagine that we're rocking our sacrum a little bit, rolling it from side to side. Sort of like what we did with the head, except of course the sacrum and the pelvis are attached to our legs and our spine. So it's not going to be as free a movement as the head, the same way, it moves far. But once again, you might want to start slowly. So I find this more challenging. I have more holding and tension in my pelvis, and actually even in my torso, along my spine, my rib cage. So try slowing it down and see how smooth you can make it. Not by pushing or forcing, but by allowing using only the effort necessary. Breathing. My sister says breathable you. I like that. Breathable you. See how far you go in one direction. And then reverse. And then let's just do some quicker micro movements. Just little rocking, very small movements, but quicker. Still breathing. I've been doing this every morning lately, and I'm starting to feel a lessening in the pain that I have in my lower back. I have arthritis there. I've had injuries as a dancer years ago. And it's been getting more and more, the arthritis is built up, it's more and more fixed and causing more pain. I don't know if any of you experience that, but as I do this every morning, slowly, there's been less pain. And then when you're ready, let that subside. And since we are on our tummies, let's tuck our toes under and do a little bit of a longitudinal rocking, pushing forward so our head rolls a little bit over our fingers. And then as the toes relax, the head comes back a little bit as the whole body moves a little bit headwards and a little bit toewards. And once again, see how much you can release any unnecessary tension in your body. Anywhere. It could be in your shoulders, it could be in your pelvis, your hips, it could be in your legs, your knees. Just using the toes as a lever to create that gentle rocking. As I relax, I notice the weight of my body on the floor changes where the weight is, where I feel the weight, particularly through the pelvis. And then that lets aside, and we're going to roll back onto our backs. I'm going to come with my head towards you, and I probably need to adjust my screen, which I will do as in my camera. And I will talk you through this, but you may want to watch it the first time. It's a simple sequence based on what we've been doing in class. Yeah, you can see me. So we're going to drop our legs over to one side, and maybe we'll just allow it. We'll just do that a few times. Okay, so I'll show the whole sequence. Then we're going to go into the reach of the leg away from the arm, the circle around all the way to sitting, back down the way you came, reaching way out on the floor in a circle to the diagonal. The leg is going to come up over the top, make a V with your legs, reach, and over to the other side. Then that arm comes up over to the top, big circle out along the floor, arm circles back down to the floor, leg comes back to the diagonal, circles up over the top now, other leg meets it, and you reach the other side.
Watch my head. I'm going to follow with my eyes, my fingertips, all the way around to come up. I'm going to allow my head to follow the fingers all the way around as the leg reaches out. The legs go up and over, and my head reaches toward my eyes, reach toward my fingers. So as my head goes over, and notice, remember this was something before, my opposite arm comes in to support myself a little bit, to sit. And then as I go down, my arm is still bent there. And then as you come back out, you can straighten it out to the other side. And my arm already wants to go into that movement. So I bring my elbow into my side of my body to do that. Okay, so we'll start together in constructive rest position. I'll let you get back into position if you've moved. So let's drop the knees to one side and roll your pelvis back onto the floor. Rolling, remember, rolling. Now we're rolling the back of our pelvis. Drop the knees to the other side. We're just doing the knee drops. And then roll the pelvis to bring the knees up. Drop the knees, let the pelvis go. Roll the pelvis back into the floor to bring the knees up. And they continue to drop to the other side. And we'll do 4 more of those. Roll the pelvis onto the floor to come up. Drop the knees, let it go. Roll the pelvis into the floor. Drop the knees. Roll the pelvis into the floor. Drop the knees. Roll the pelvis into the floor. Drop the knees. Roll the pelvis into the floor. Now we'll do the whole sequence. Drop the knees to the right. Reach the left arm up on the diagonal. Circle, big circle around, up to side sitting. Circle back down to the floor. Reach the leg out on the diagonal. Bring it up toward the ceiling. The other leg comes up. And switch over to the other diagonal. Reach the right arm up and around over the top of the head. Leg circles back to side sitting. Reach the arm way out on the floor to come down. The leg reaches out to the diagonal. Leg reaches up to the ceiling, up, and switch to the other diagonal. Reach way out on the floor as far as you can to sit up to side seating. To go back down, reach way out onto the floor, laying your torso onto your thigh, and then rolling back to the diagonal. Leg comes up, other leg comes up, switch diagonal. Reach way out in a circle around to side sitting. Reach way out around in a circle back onto your back. Leg comes up, other leg comes up to the diagonal. Reach way out in a circle. Reach way in a circle back to the floor. The leg comes up onto the diagonal. Reach way around in a circle to side sitting. Reach way out on the floor. Lay your body down on your thigh as you shift, and leg comes up into the diagonal. Okay. Now, I know there's no other way but for me to ask you to watch so that I can do the next sequence. We're going to do the rising to the floor and lowering back down. So reaching the leg out onto the diagonal, reach way around to side sitting, keep going around, crossing the leg over, standing up, and continue down the same way to get back to the floor. And, oh dear,
around to the other side. Around. I did this several times this morning, but I did it faster, and when I do it slow, I forget what I'm doing. Let me just do it once. That's it. Okay. Now I can do it for you slowly. So, here we go. So you go over to the diagonal, you circle around, continue to turn, you plant that foot, opposite arm from foot, you push yourself up, you roll up to standing. You continue the same direction around the rotation down to the floor. As you sit, you flip your legs to that side sitting position, and here you are just the same way as we did. It's just who knows what direction you're facing. And there you are in the diagonal, ready to go to the other side. So I will do that one more time on the same side. So we'll start the same way we did. Left leg reaches across, left arm goes up, side sitting, continue to turn, and up, and turn down to the floor, flip the legs over, reach, here you are in your side sitting, reach down, and around. We don't do the leg flip, because then we would be doing the same side again, and I wanted to reverse it. So now we're going to do the other side. Way around to the other side. Legs flip over. Continue spiraling up to standing. Continue the spiral in the same direction down to the floor. Flip the legs over. Reach out along the floor. Around to the diagonal. And there you are, the same place we started. You may not be exactly in the same relation in the room. Just keep the spirals going, and then we do it to the other side. Okay? So, here we go. Starting in constructive rest position, we're going to allow our legs, I'll let you get there. We're going to let our legs drop to the right. Left leg stretches out, left arm up over the top of the body, reaching way around to the side sitting, and keep going around. Leg crosses over, spiral up, keep going to your left, down to the floor, legs flip over, reach out along the floor, and down, stretch the right leg out and the right arm on the diagonal. Reverse the direction. The right arm comes up over the top, sweep around to the side sit, keep going around, and roll up, and start the spiral down, continuing to go to the right, flip the legs over, going to the right, and reach around to the diagonal. Left leg, left arm. Arm reaches up over the top, circling around to the side sit, continuing circling to the left, around, roll up, and continuing turning to the left as you spiral down to the floor. Legs flip over, reaching out with the right hand along the floor, caress it as you come up over the top of your head, and then stretch your right leg out on the diagonal. Change. Right arm comes up over the top, reaching out along the floor, continue going to the right as you turn, and then roll up, and spiral down. Legs flip over, left arm brushes out on the floor, right arm bends so that you end up stretching out with your left leg and your left arm. And let's reverse that and come up to standing and stay standing. So left arm circles all the way around to side sit, legs flip over, keep turning, and spiral up to standing.
So let's come together and have a little confab here. This is challenging for all of us in this Zoom world. So, questions?
Dana, it does not look it doesn't look difficult when you do it. But I have practiced every day, and at about 100% slower than you, I am doing it.
Yay! Bravo! Super. Audrey, how are you doing?
I can get part of it and I can bring myself up to my knees, but I have trouble getting up onto my feet. Like when I swing around, I can come up, but I come up as far as my knees, and then I have to work to get the rest of my body up.
Okay.
I have trouble with my feet supporting me. I've got a lot of arthritis in them, and they're pretty sore at times.
Now, does it
And,
hurt when you do this, Audrey?
just depends on how I've set my foot down.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
careful to plant it flat. It's okay if I'm on an angle, then it puts pressure.
Yeah.
And I get knees, but to get the rest of my body up is a chore. So I have to just keep practicing.
Well, would you like to, can you tilt your camera down so I could see you do it?
Let's see, I'll have to put it on the floor. I think is how I have to do it. Oh, did I lose you?
Nope, it's on the floor.
Yeah, it's on the floor. So if I go down like this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm over to here. But it's
Oh, okay. Yeah. So here's the thing. Go back onto your back. I'm going to try and talk you through it. If it doesn't work, I'll show it to you again. So
okay.
start out in constructive rest position. So put your feet flat on the floor, bent your knees as much as you can. Okay. Now drop your knees over and stretch that arm to the side. Now, allow your right arm to bend as your left arm, no, not that way. That's it. Yes. Pulling your elbow into your side. That's it, your elbow. Not you're pushing with your wrist. I want you to think of a string on your elbow. There you go. That's what I want you to do. Okay? Now, as you reach over with the top, over, continue reaching. Allow the weight to come way over, if you can. Bend your back leg. Bend your back leg.
And this one,
Yes.
and then come over with.
And then rotate. Let your feet be floppy. Yeah. When it comes, flip your legs. That's it. Good. No. Yes. Okay.
I have to get it over further than I guess.
Yeah.
And then,
There you are.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to get the foot over my leg further to get up.
Okay. Yeah. So you got it that time. Let me just show you one part of it here. I'm going to face this way the way I always have because I think it's no. I'm going to face the other way because maybe that's why you're missing what I wanted to show you. So, if I were to do it on this side,
first of all, this is the movement of the elbow that I'm wanting you to do. As you reach around, I'm bringing this arm in so I can support myself on that elbow of it. As I come around,
Okay.
my leg is bending. You can do this as a flip before you do this. You were sort of trying to go there. This is just a simple,
Oh,
Maybe didn't do this enough, but that's what I was doing. And you see my bum just roll from one side to the other. And you don't have to be sitting as upright as me. You can still do it here, just like this. And then you can bring this leg around.
and then you did this perfectly to get to there. Now the only other thing is you were looking for your hands. You were looking to get up with your head.
This may seem counterintuitive, but when you come around to here, this is where, all this time we spend doing this in class comes into play. Because if you think of looking at your feet, look at your feet, don't look at your head. Look at what your feet are doing as they're softening, placing both feet flat on the floor, as you said. And then you roll up. We're going to do some of that when we stand up now. So we'll get that.
We'll bring attention to that.
Do you see what I'm saying? As opposed to
The head being out here, and now, how are you going to get yourself up?
it comes like that, right? Okay. So I'm saying to get up, you're actually using your spine.
so you roll up.
You roll up. And what that means is from here,
There has to be a change
through the pelvis
to center. Those sits bones now are pointing out and up. Your sits bones. We have to get those sits bones facing the floor so that now our body is like sitting in the chair standing up. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah. Makes good sense.
Okay.
Now, to actually do it.
Of course. So let's all get a drink of water, if you haven't already. And Patricia, I'm just assuming that you're doing what you're able to do and following along. And if you have any questions, just come on and ask.
A good assumption. Thank you.
Okay. So let's come, and we're gonna start by doing the Tai Chi together that we know, and I'm going to extend it into some other work. But let's start to just get ourselves grounded, because we spend a lot of time on the floor. So once again, we're going to align ourselves first and maybe think about our alignment a little bit here. So we have, this is maybe like going back 2 years. We talk about, the center of the foot, that tripod underneath us. Then we have our hip joints. Then we have our shoulder joints. Then we have the base of our ears. So maybe just put your 2 fingers here at the base of your ears. You want those over your shoulders, and it's very common for people to develop a posture that gets more and more like this. So we want, again, if you want to do like, think of your ears reaching up and back, or thinking of that cerebellum just relaxing back there into your hands. Hopefully, if you just allow your fingertips, like your middle finger, notice where it's touching on your thigh. Is it touching along the side seam, or is it further forward? Okay, we want that to be the side seam. Not because you're pushing your fingers back, but because just relaxed, that's where it is. Okay. So let's do the circles of the arms like we always start in Qigong. And this is a great warm-up of that movement that we do on the floor where we reach out through our little fingers before we do the twist, 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 right? So we're really engaging the shoulder blades on the back by reaching out through the little finger, which is our heart meridian. And then we start our creasings. And notice, the only thing that is bending are my legs, my ankles, knees, hips. Yeah, my body stays in that alignment. Ears over shoulders over hips. Nothing happens to the alignment. The knees are just moving forward. Feeling the feet. And this is good for your feet. I have arthritis in my feet too, Audrey. Spreading the toes out. As you say, when you step with a foot flat, it's much less painful. Think of spreading those toes out and feeling that tripod as you move up and down on your vertical axis. Coming into the next movement, from just beneath our sternum, the Chinese call this the turtle dove tail here, the bottom of the sternum. So here we have that spreading and gathering movement. So can you spread the energy from your arms all the way out so you feel it stretching out through the fingers, maybe a little more through the middle finger now, not just the little finger. That's it. So how wide can we make our kinesphere, our movable cells? Now let's take this movement apart, pressing from one foot to the other, pressing to the other side, pressing to the other side, pressing to the other side, pressing to the other side. And this is really important, again, to feel those feet on the floor working. You can even use your hands like this to mimic it if that helps. Bring that sense of the activity of the feet. That's great. And now let's add the arms. As the arm lengthens away from the body, really feel that the weight of the arm, giving a little gentle stretch through the shoulder. And I like to think of my middle finger when it comes up over the, just touching or moving toward the G20 point, that point at the very top of the head in alignment with your ears. Always breathing. So we used all this when we were getting up in terms of the pushing through the feet. Now we're going to reinforce that central axis of the body from the connection from the feet all the way up through to the top of the head. And remember the cerebellum today that we're working with. Allow it to rest back there. And now we're going to move into that rotation, coming from the sternum, reaching out and around coming from the sternum, reaching out and around. Taking in your environment with your eyes. Feeling the connection to the ground through your feet. The arms are really defining that, what we call the sagittal plane. It's like the wheel plane. Your arm that circles around is almost like going around the rim of a wheel. And then it pushes forward into the forward direction as the other arm makes a circle around the wheel. Now here's, as our hands come together, here's where we have a chance to do that over curve, but keeping the pelvis, the sits bones reaching down. So this is not a lean forward with the pelvis counterbalancing back. This is like this movement that we do at the beginning, and we're adding the body. So let's just take that a few times. Just creasing with the head reaching forward. Just allow the arms to drop down. Roll the head. So let's take it slowly. I can't think how to teach this. Okay, so we start with the head on the top vertebra. It's rocking forward, and then the other vertebra of the neck have to be engaged, and then the vertebra of the, attached to the ribs are engaged, and finally we feel that stretch of the lower back, and then rolling up again. It's the reverse process. One by one, the vertebrae stack themselves back up on top of each other to vertical. So head, neck, thorax, lumbar, thorax, neck, head, neck, chest, lower back, chest, neck, head. Take the arms up and over the top and over, and come up and lift and over, curve, return. We use our shoulder blades again, and the little fingers trace up, and then the middle fingers can trace down. Arms open and rotate outwards to bring us up, and curve down with the palms. Palms turn out to lift up. Palms turn over as you go down. Palms rotate out to come up and over to go down. Okay, and then we're going to take the reaches to the side. So now it's a side bend, so that condensing and the stretching on the other side. So you feel expansion through the rib cage on one side and condensing to the other. It's equal and opposite. Both sides of the body are working. And that's a way to protect ourselves whenever we do this kind of thing. If we think of both the side that is contracting and the side that is extending, So here we have flexion and extension, to use the anatomical terms. Now, with the next movement, we are going to add that rotation, or what I think of it as a spiral, because we're spiraling up and spiraling down, spiraling up, spiraling down, up, around and down. And we have that kind of figure 8 movement in the body. So notice the flow that that creates when we use spirals and figures 8s, as opposed to me reaching, 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 reaching. Do you see the difference? Just try that yourselves. Reach to one side, reach to the other side, reach to one side, reach the other side. Now, figure 8, up and around and down and up, around and down. It's not a big figure 8, but just enough so that the movement all has curve. So there's a flow. Now we'll do this push, 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 push. You can come through, well,
Yeah, this is too
and
close.
say hello to everybody. Yeah.
Sorry.
Bob's going to come and say hello. He wanted to today.
Hey, Bob.
He's in his painting outfit.
This is my painting outfit. You can see my tummy.
Okay, I'm going to focus again on where we are. So, of course, this push through the palm is creating that rotation in our spine. And that's important because the next movement is going to be a continuation of that. And you might notice, I never stressed this when we first learned this movement, there's a kind of double rotation. So I rotate, there's a little rocking, like we did on the floor. Rocking. But by mean of rocking, it's like a rolling. A little mini rotation and then a big rotation. A little mini rotation back and a big rotation. Mini rotation, big rotation. Mini rotation, big rotation. Following that circle of the arms. And then we have the simple rotation adding the forearms. How about your feet? Are they active on the floor, supporting these rotations through the whole body? And here we go, stepping forward and opening up. So we have that same gathering in, lifting and spreading, but now we're doing it in all dimensions. So we're going, our torso, our spine is going over again, not sticking the sits bones out, but the curve of the upper back, of the whole spine really. And then up through the top, reaching out through the little fingers, supporting ourselves. So my arch is here under my shoulder blades. I'm feeling it through my little fingers. And I've got my head up here strange to look at you, okay? But normally my head, I would be cradling with my cerebellum here, allowing the back of my head to drop and lengthen the back of the neck, so I'm not doing this. Does that make sense? It's that same thing of laying back here, reaching So, Audrey, don't think of lifting your chin to do this. Think of dropping like somebody was, like you're cradling a baby holding the back of their head, right? Specifically right back at the occiput, so that the back of the neck is long. Yes, there's a little curve, but it's not fold, it's not doing that, right? It's lengthening up and out. It's not, the head is not dropping back that way. Instead, it's the cerebellum that is moving back, not that. That's what I'm trying to show. Rather than doing that with the back of the head and the chin here jutting up, it's that. Does that feel different?
Yeah, I can feel it through the back of the neck more.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pick on Audrey day.
Might as well try and get it right.
Okay, so let's do that again with the other leg forward. Going forward, lift up and out, reach out, gather forward, reach up and out. 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 And let's step our feet together and let's just do the rises. We haven't done any rises on the balls of the feet. Lifting from the front of the pubic bone. The pubic bone brings our weight over the balls of our feet, and then we lower down. And we're using our toes, just like when we were lying on the floor and rocking. That length through the whole, yes, lovely. Beautiful. And then circling to finish, up and around. Reach out, again reaching through the little fingers and coming in. Last one. And normally we would pause here and focus. This is our lower dantian. This is the lower energy center in the body, bringing all that energy in there to support us. Okay, so there we go. Anyone have any observations? So Marietta's gone, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a great class. I enjoyed that.
Good,
As always.
good. You take care.
Take care, everyone.
We'll see you next week. All of
Have
it.
a good week. Okay, bye.
Bye.